There's an unspoken fear that lingers in people when it comes to setting boundaries with others. And when you do work up the courage, it suddenly feels like you just ran a 10-mile marathon. It can look quite dramatic from the outside looking in, and it's honestly quite insane that the very thought of standing up for yourself can be one of the most terrifying things you can do, even if it's for your mental health, physical health, to save a relationship. And it can be as small as sending food back because you asked for gluten-free and they gave you gluten. Imagine forcing yourself to do something you don't want to do because of the fact that it can inconvenience others, even though you're inconveniencing yourself. This used to be me. I used to think I was so nice, so sweet, so kind. But at my core, I became a people pleaser in order to keep company around, good or bad. I'm hoping this video can be used as some kind of encouragement for you to break this hold of people pleasing, because it wasn't that hard for me to break mine once I started to understand that my values and my worth is not less than anyone else's. It took me a while to figure out the root of this problem. There were many paths that led to the same people-pleasing destination. The one I traveled on the most was self-worth. As a survivor of depression, my self-worth and self-love was at an all-time low. How could I have possibly expected people to respect my boundaries when I didn't even respect my boundaries? Once I began my healing journey, I was able to enforce these 4 things. Number 1, be okay with being misunderstood. What I realized is that most people will project and or will believe a version of you that doesn't exist in order to make themselves feel better. Sometimes an explanation or correction is not needed. That conversation will go in circles because those kinds of people do not want the real you. They want the you that keeps them comfortable. Now, I'm not talking about every misunderstanding. I'm talking about repeated patterns with people that benefit from misrepresenting you. So think twice before correcting your image. Let people interpret you. Being misunderstood is normal, but others' perception of you does not define you. Not every misunderstanding needs to be corrected. Peace is sometimes more important than being explained. Number 2, get comfortable with saying no, and saying no without an explanation. Think about the last time you said yes when you wanted to say no. What were you afraid would happen if you didn't? I remember when I chose to stay home and rest instead of going out late at night with friends because I was genuinely tired and had work in the morning, or even choosing to stay home instead of going out or doing anyone favors when I have free time, because my free time can be used for me instead of others. Out of habit, you can be so quick to say yes without considering yourself. This is why it's helpful to give yourself pause, actual pause. Maybe instead of saying no outright, you can say instead, I can't commit to that right now, or let me think about it and I'll get back to you, or I'm not available, but I hope it goes well. Even though you might disappoint them, you are honoring you. That's what's important. Choosing rest, honesty, or distance is not going to make the world stop spinning, but it will make you feel stronger. Remember, no is a full sentence. They don't need to know your whole life story. Number 3, stop solving problems that aren't assigned to you. Many fall victim under emotional labor. Most people pleasers end up being the therapist friend. Yes, I'm speaking from experience. Being reliable is not a bad thing, but remember number 2, being able to say no. Creating distance is important. Stop assigning yourself the task to help everyone figure out their problems, especially when you haven't done anything for yourself that day. Didn't even get to wash your face or brush your teeth yet, and you're over here on the phone trying to help your friend figure out if she need to break up with her boyfriend or not. When you start showing up for yourself first, you become much less invested in putting others before yourself. Your needs are just as important, which leads me to my 4th. Choose yourself at least once in a situation where you normally wouldn't. This one can be tricky because it's hard to recognize patterns within yourself. to be completely self-aware in the moment to prevent something that normally happens from happening. And even if you realized a moment or a second too late, you can still take back your response to change it. You're not a bad friend, family member, co-worker, lover for prioritizing your needs above others. You are just as important, if not more. It took me a while to get the hang of this because I used to care so much about how I was perceived by the people I cared about. I had this need to be reliable that if it felt like I was letting someone down, my worth in their life diminished. Start small. It can be as simple as avoiding a phone call or any social interactions before you've had a priority directly related to you taken care of first. This will become a habit until eventually you won't even think twice about it. You might lose friends. You might lose connections that you thought had your best interests at heart because how dare you not be at their beck and call when they need you? How dare you speak up for yourself and not allow yourself to be manipulated or talked to any kind of way for someone else's benefit? People who love to take advantage of others love people pleasers because they know they can get away with it. They know you are going to smile and take it. Some people don't even care as long as you serve your purpose in giving them what they need and being the person that they go to for any and everything. And us as people pleasers, we are aware of this. That's why setting boundaries is hard, because you know that once you do, you might lose that connection. A lot of us understand that our friends do not really care about us as people and only what we can do for them, only what we can provide for them. Because we know once we set that boundary, there's a risk of being seen as the villain. There's a risk of losing that connection with that person. You will learn to become unafraid to lose connections that do not serve you. And when you become comfortable with this, you might be seen as selfish or as someone who doesn't care about others, because it's such a huge transformation, honestly. I mean, you go from never being able to say no, even to strangers, to being unapologetically true to your boundaries, wants, and needs. That would make anyone, especially the manipulators, to turn their head and say, wow, you're kind of selfish, when in reality, they've never seen you set a boundary before. You now know there are things you will tolerate and things you will not. And those who don't know how to treat others with courtesy and respect will always see boundaries as control. They will see boundaries as something is wrong with you rather than something that needs to be respected in order to have a healthy relationship with you. You'll notice that these people often have a hard time with accountability, and they look at accountability as being attacked. So do not be afraid to cut them off. You should not have to mold yourself to meet other people's needs and expectations. Your life is your own to control, not theirs. Again, boundaries do not push people away. If anything, they reveal who was staying for the wrong reasons. The people meant for you will adjust, not disappear. Here are some books that I can recommend that can help you dive deeper in fighting this and taking back your control of your ability to say no. Even though this was short, I hope my words were able to give you some encouragement in taking that step in respecting yourself first. As always, like, comment, and subscribe for similar content, and I will anticipate your return.